TLO, what's poppin'? We are on Twitch. We are not live. But by the time you see this, we wouldn't have been anyway. So just leave a like, comment, subscribe, turn on your post notification bells. Let's continue to grow the family from Chicago to the UK. Right behind me, a little warning screen just in case. Don't forget, we also got Patreon. We post 7 to 10 times a week. And we also got Twitch.com. That's where you can catch a live stream. Usernames at the bottom of the screen. This is Murder of Olivia Pratt-Korbel. Okay. All right, I'm interested. Somebody told me to watch it, so I'm here.
Copyright disclaimer. Under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Non-profit, educational or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. No copyright infringement intended. All rights belong to their respective owners.
A 35-year-old man was being chased by a man armed with a gun. The man being chased forced his way into Olivia's house, and the offender ran in after him, firing a number of shots.
There were some children worried about someone might come into their house. My sense is that there is still anxiety around it.
She was in her own home. She was cowering behind the mum. He will have heard the screams, and he's continued to carry on shooting inside the house.
It's absolutely disgusting, and I woke up to find that a little girl, 9-year-old girl, being shot dead.
The killing of Olivia Pratt-Korbel is an offence that shocked not only the city of Liverpool, but the nation.
I will never say goodbye, but what I will say is good night, love you, see you in the...
See, this is the thing about being a gangster, man. Like there's supposed to be rules and regulations. There's supposed to be do's and don'ts. No kids, no old ladies, no old people in general. Like you're enraged that much. You're blacked out. You can't even hear a little girl screaming or see it. Like,
in the morning.
Somebody has made you that angry over probably something that ain't even yours, probably some turf that ain't yours, or some money that's, or some over some principle. Just don't watch for it, piss me off.
BBC News at 4 o'clock. This is Adam Porter. A 9-year-old girl has died following a shooting in Liverpool.
When was
Man
this?
and woman were also shot.
I think I remember it.
On the 22nd of August 2022, a gunman shot through the door of a home in Liverpool. What happened that night shocked the city and the country.
Merseyside police were stretched. Probably the worst week of certainly our careers as senior detectives.
Just absolutely, devastated, horrified that, a child had been murdered in the circumstances in which she had.
It was just awful. It was, I've got a 9-year-old daughter, so I think the general feeling was it could have been any one of us. It could have been anybody who opened the door, and it was just harrowing.
Our headlines this morning: a 9-year-old girl has been shot dead in Liverpool overnight. The gunman is on the run.
We're going to have reports from the Knotty Ash area of the east of Liverpool where the shooting happened, with all the latest for you this morning.
To think that a 9-year-old child has been murdered in her own home is just devastating for a region that is...
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, it wasn't wrong place, wrong time. It was she was in her house, probably in her pajamas, getting ready for bed.
So proud, and rightly proud, as a region. It's had a real impact.
We were extremely shocked at that level of relentless, careless pursuit, total disregard for any other life. That's what shocked us as an investigation team.
Our reporter Andy Gill is at the scene for us and joins us now. Andy, what more can you tell us?
The police have described this as tragic and truly shocking. The police have said that no parent should have to suffer the loss of a child in these dreadful circumstances.
We never expected anything like that to happen. Nobody expected it to be
Peter,
a young innocent girl in her own home.
Joanne Kennedy runs the Drive Community Centre, just streets away from where the shooting happened.
I live in this community as well as working in this community. I'm bringing up 2 children in the area. There's lots of people here who have lived here for a long, long time. There'll be people who've lived in the same house for 40, 50 years, particularly because it was a child. I think it was a shock. It's not something that happens that you expect to happen. But the murder of a 9-year-old girl would send shockwaves through any community.
Yeah, for sure.
I was...
As much as it happens here, well, let me not say here in Florida. It did just happen in Florida like some months ago, but I can speak on Chicago. As much as it happens in Chicago, you never get used to it. Coming in from Chicago, like, yes, you're desensitized to violence. You're desensitized to murder, but you're never desensitized to the murder of a child. That never happened.
Watching the football, and I heard the 4 shots, 3, and then a later one rung out, and I come upstairs and said to her, "Did you hear that?" And she said, "Yeah." I said, "I don't think it was fireworks."
It's absolutely disgusting, and I woke up to find that a little girl, 9-year-old girl, being shot dead.
Yeah, it's getting too close now. It's it's getting that way. Someone's been shot or they've been stabbed, and you go, "Oh, another one."
Chief Constable Serena Kennedy and Detective Chief Superintendent Mark Kameen are about to give a press conference following those shootings last night.
Good afternoon.
In Liverpool.
A 9-year-old girl, who we can name today as Olivia Pratt-Korbel, has died following a shooting in Dovecot last night, Monday, the 22nd of August. And her family are absolutely devastated.
I am a mum, and that makes me look at things through the lens of being a mum, and it does give us all that renewed vigour, that renewed commitment, because we can relate to the unthinkable. We can only imagine the pain and suffering they're going through, but we absolutely bring that into our commitment to bring those.
It's about to piss me off. It's about to anger me.
Offenders to justice.
It is believed that one of the injured parties, a 35-year-old man, was being chased by a man armed with a gun who was firing at him. The man being chased forced his way into Olivia's house.
Oh, so this is a random dude. This ain't even her, this is not even Olivia's mom. This is not even Olivia's mom's boyfriend. This is a rando who's seen an open door and ran in.
And the offender ran in after him, firing a number of shots with complete disregard for Olivia and her family, who had no connection with the gunman or the man who forced his way in.
We were working in that area, we were tackling serious and organised crime in that area, but when we get a murder, any murder, it's an indication that we need to step up and do more.
The 35-year-old man had been chased, suffered a number of gunshots to his upper body. Whilst Olivia lay dying, he was picked up by his friends who took him to hospital.
It's just unimaginable.
And left her?
To lose a young girl, a spark, the family will never recover.
Ever. That is not a recoverable thing.
Olivia will never run down again on a Christmas morning and open her presents. Her parents will never get to see that. She'll never get to go to high school. She'll never get to be married, have children.
I need the public's help. And unfortunately, this is not the first time I've made an appeal this week around a fatal homicide relating to firearms. On this occasion, we were managing 3 firearms-enabled murders in the space of 7 days. It placed enormous pressure on the force and enormous pressure on our communities. It placed enormous scrutiny from the media, from government, from other forces.
The murder of Olivia crossed all boundaries, you know, the shock and horror in the city.
And it ain't gangsters, so crossed a lot of boundaries, more than you know, ma'am.
And we did see that flow of information flood into the investigation team.
Yeah, when children get to, you know what I'm saying, being the casualties of street stuff, like, you know, bystanders that normally would be like, oh, I don't want to be involved, I don't want to be next, they're telling 100%. They're opening their mouth.
This was a crime that had huge emotional resonance with everybody, and our communities stood with us as well, which was I'm so proud of as well. My appeal is to the person responsible for this horrendous attack on a 9-year-old schoolgirl to recognise the pain and anguish that this has caused her family. I want that individual to hand themselves in.
I think there was a lot of assumptions about our community and the type of people who live in this community that wasn't a reflection of the community that I know. I think the biggest thing was about the no grass culture. We were inundated.
No grass culture does not apply to civilians. Does not apply to law-abiding citizens.
With information that people wanted justice for the family, so I think that wasn't something that was my experience.
That's a criminal thing.
While police began investigating,
that's a gangster criminal world thing. If I go into work and I got a 9 to 5 and I'm raising a family and I do my taxes and I go to jury service, I'm telling. If I'm doing all of that, I'm telling. Hypothetically speaking. Not me personally, but I just land the scenario out. If you're doing all of that, like, what?
Investigating the circumstances of Olivia's murder, Merseyside became a hotbed of media attention. The then Prime Minister Boris Johnson tweeted about the shooting.
He tweeted? He didn't go on television and say something?
Priti Patel, Home Secretary at the time, visited the area, promising
at least she came out.
More money for crime prevention.
I know whatever she said she was doing probably didn't happen. Maybe it did, but she's a politician, so probably it didn't. This was a move for political advancement, but at least she was outside.
And trauma support. While football fans at the Merseyside derby held a minute's applause in Olivia's name.
Just to break off as we reach the 9-minute mark, and on the screen, in loving memory of Olivia Pratt-Korbel, and applause all around the stadium here at Goodison Park, which is a great thing to see.
People in Dovecot came together to support one another, particularly the children who had lost a friend.
There were some children worried about someone might come into their house, and it was about managing their worries.
Carla, a mental health therapist, went into Olivia's school.
Or, that automatic response is, how do you support somebody in that situation? How do you support the staff? How do you...
And I'm not blaming nobody, but everybody in the UK, please start locking y'all doors. I don't care how outstanding your neighborhood is. It could happen at any moment. So just let everybody lock your door.
Support the children. How do you support the parents in that situation? You could feel the atmosphere in a way. We were aware of it, but it was about making sure that we were okay too and supporting each other. I think for us it was kind of given the support of, maybe when time heals a little, is doing things like a condolence book or having a memory garden, and doing activities around those kind of things to remember Olivia rather than what happened to Olivia. My sense is that there is still anxiety around it and still that close-knit community around. That's the nice thing, is that the community do come together.
At that point we were just in autopilot, really, just making sure that our response was for the community. We had our artist in, and she just wanted to do some work with the children, looking at what, you know, how they could express how they were feeling. Little ray of sunshine, you will be missed. Rest in peace, little angel. Fly high, live. There's different things on there. Their whole lives changed. They were exposed to things that young children should never have to be exposed to. They were scared. They were scared in their own homes.
And some of these children probably still scared to this day. They probably still think about it.
Didn't know, you know, at the time nobody had been arrested for the crimes, so it was the killer still on the loose, basically, so people were afraid.
The funeral.
3 weeks after the shooting, Olivia's funeral was held in Liverpool.
And this is the church where the funeral took place today, and the church that Olivia visited as a schoolgirl. Mourners lined the roads close by. Hundreds filed into the church to say their goodbyes and pay tribute and celebrate the life of 9-year-old Olivia Pratt-Korbel.
Olivia was very chatty.
Glad the community gave her a great celebration of life. She got a horse and carriage. That's messed up.
And bubbly, and would talk for England to the point we thought she had Duracell batteries hidden inside her somewhere. Liv touched so many people's hearts and was loved and adored by everyone. She will never be forgotten. So us and I will never say goodbye. But what I will say is good night, love you, see you in the morning.
Meanwhile, more details were emerging about the
That was crazy.
night Olivia was killed. The intended victim of the shooting was named early into the investigation.
This is BBC News. I'm Geeta Gurumuthy. The headlines. The killing of 9-year-old Olivia Pratt-Korbel in Liverpool. The suspected target of the shooting is named as 35-year-old Joseph Nee. On the streets of Liverpool, investigations are continuing as detectives are hunting for Olivia Pratt-Korbel's killer.
Joseph Nee was a convicted drug dealer with a criminal history reaching back to 2009. Most recently sent to prison in 2018. But the gunman had still not been found. CCTV footage of them fleeing the scene was released by the police.
We spent hours in the community through initial house-to-house inquiries, tracing witnesses, locating, seizing CCTV, and then listening to information that was coming in respect of criminality in the area.
CCTV is always vital to investigations. It's invariably excellent piece of evidence, very difficult to refute what you're seeing on the camera, and then when that is then supported with strong forensic evidence, witness accounts, you manage to build a really impactful case.
Some people were so fearful that they wouldn't open the door to us, but we pursued the evidence without fear of favour and on occasion obtained warrants from local magistrates and seized the CCTV.
If we go back 10, 15 years, we wouldn't have been looking for in our investigative strategy Ring doorbell footage because it didn't really exist, and we would go out and hunt for that CCTV, bring it back, review it, and then effectively go and widen that parameter and widen it again and widen it again. Builds up a fantastic picture then around the movements of those individuals.
Olivia's mum asked for people to come forward with information and appealed directly to the killer.
You know you've done wrong, so you need to own up, like I've taught my kids.
This was a highly complex, multifaceted emotional.
She had multiple kids, so I wonder how the other kids felt.
Case. The emotion of it made it really, really challenging. We tried, as senior investigating officers, to try and remove the emotion from it, really.
They all fell in love with her. She left a mark on everyone that she met. And she may well have only been 9, but she packed a lot in them 9 years.
Almost 6 weeks after Olivia's death, police charged a man for her murder.
We're going to take you live to Merseyside Police, where we are now tuning into a news conference, a live news conference. Let's listen in.
Before I start, can I introduce my colleagues, Detective Chief Superintendent Mark Kameen and Maria Kaur, Senior Crown Prosecutor from the CPS.
The Crown Prosecution Service has authorised Merseyside Police to charge Thomas Cashman, 34, from Grenadier Drive, West Derby, with the murder of 9-year-old Olivia Pratt-Korbel. Also, the attempted murder of Joseph Nee and Cheryl Korbel on the 22nd of August 2022.
If it's believed what he said, he was earning up to £250,000 a year dealing cannabis. People at Dovecot were telling us they were in fear. Thomas Cashman, in fact, lots of people were saying they were petrified of him. He would take a car off people. He would also take property off them and assault them, and probably more.
Yeah, he was out here power tripping. Yeah, too much money allegedly to be doing this dumb stuff. Money make you think you're invincible, man.
People were talking about a line being crossed, almost for those involved in crime, as though there is an acceptable level where you don't talk normally, that grass culture being embedded. What we saw with this crime is that lots and lots of people on both sides of that criminal line were wanting to come forward and speak to us.
I just want to know what I've done, that's all. All I want to know is what I'm arrested for. Tell me what I'm arrested for. Okay.
You're under arrest on suspicion of murder and a suspicion of attempt murder twice. Alright, you do not have to say anything, but in my army's defence, we don't mention when questioned. Something which you may later lie. Anything you do say will be given in evidence.
The jury in the trial of Thomas Cashman, who is accused of murdering 9-year-old Olivia Pratt-Korbel in Liverpool last August, has been sworn in today at Manchester Crown Court.
Olivia's family, wearing pink ribbons in her memory, were also at the trial, listening to gruelling detail.
What charge did Joseph Nee get? Trespassing? Like, he did break into a house. He's a part of it. What happened there? I feel like even if you running from something, you running into a house is breaking in.
If you just think back to the chronology of the events,
trespassing.
Thomas Cashman was always intending to kill that night. The prosecution showed a significant element of planning, reconnaissance after reconnaissance after reconnaissance in his van.
He's probably tweaking off the Class A's too.
Circling the area looking for confirmation that Joseph Nee had parked outside the address on Finch Lane. It was a well-planned operation.
During the trial, the jury was shown CCTV of Thomas Cashman's movements the day Olivia died. He was captured that afternoon and in a van later that evening, circling the area, scoping out Joseph Nee.
We always want, I think, as an investigation team, to understand the motive. Why would somebody want to kill Joseph Nee? It was a really, really important starting point for the case. What we haven't been able to do is fully understand why Thomas Cashman wanted to shoot Joseph Nee.
The moment Thomas Cashman launched his attack was also caught on CCTV. He shoots twice at Joseph Nee, standing over him, tries to fire a third shot. But the gun seems to malfunction. Switching to a second gun, he chases after Nee, who had burst into Olivia's home.
She was in her own home. She was cowering behind her mum, and the gunman has gone into the house. He will have seen and heard when he fired that
dude had terrible aim, not to mention this is
fourth shot into the house with a bullet going through the door, through Cheryl Korbel's hand and into Olivia. He will have heard the screams, and he's continued to carry on shooting inside the house.
Oh, they muted the...
As Olivia lay dying inside her own home, Thomas Cashman is filmed running away.
These people are cowards. They don't care who they hurt in the crossfire.
Olivia's shooting was even more painful for the community on Merseyside, as it was on the anniversary of a frighteningly similar murder.
Oh, wow.
Rhys Jones obviously was murdered 15 years ago to the day of Olivia, and that's absolutely not lost on the organisation.
I remember this.
We said that the murder of Rhys Jones 15 years ago was a watershed moment. And we
Reece.
absolutely have reflected as policing that where do we go to next? What do we do? What do we do next?
Sean Mercer was the gunman. He was just 16 years old at the time. He shot Rhys early on a summer evening in this pub car park. Mercer's seen riding a mountain bike and then stopping and firing 3 times. He was aiming at rival gang members, but he missed them and he killed Rhys.
I've been in the police 30 years and I've seen those 2 watershed moments. The shooting of Rhys Jones was a watershed moment, and 15 years later I do believe that the shooting of Olivia has been.
And we cannot be complacent, and we have absolutely got to step up and reinvest and recommit to our fight against tackling serious and organised crime.
The verdict.
We have some breaking news too.
Life in prison with a minimum served term of 22 years. Got to be something like that.
Bring you now from Manchester Crown.
It might be more though, because it's the communal impact.
Court,
might be like
where
27.
Thomas Cashman has been found guilty
27.
of the murder of Olivia Pratt-Korbel.
Yes. Cheryl, how are you feeling?
Ecstatic.
That's good for the family. I'm glad they got some type of closure. But for me personally, if that happened to me, it wouldn't do nothing for me. I'm sorry. I'm living old school, eye for an eye. Me personally. But I'm glad that they got that done.
Well, it has been a long and
that's biblical, ain't it? Eye for an eye.
difficult trial here, relying not only on CCTV but also on the testimony of a key witness whose house Thomas Cashman fled to after the murder. She said although she was petrified about coming forward, there is no grassing when a child is involved.
The witness described how Cashman had come to her house asking for a change of clothes after he killed Olivia. The trousers she gave him were later found with gunshot residue on them.
Yeah, see what I'm saying? Exodus 21:23 through 27 and Leviticus 24:20. Eye for an eye.
She told police she felt compelled to come forward to get justice for Olivia's family.
She's been incredibly brave, probably the bravest thing I've seen in my career in terms of coming forwards and providing evidence in court. We always want witnesses to come forwards, but we know, given the level of fear in the community, how hard that will have been for her, and I hope she's proud of herself tonight.
Oh, here we go. This is
Almost 8 months after Olivia died, Thomas Cashman was sentenced for her murder. When the time came, he refused to come into court.
The killing of Olivia Pratt-Korbel is an offence that shocked not only the city of Liverpool, but the nation. Olivia's name is likely to be remembered for many years. She should not be remembered only for her dreadful last moments. Her family have spoken today of Olivia in life and of the hopes and dreams for her future,
My daughter do that
which
same
were so
pose.
cruelly snatched away.
And that's why it pisses me off.
It is plain that Olivia was a
been
lovely
anybody's
little
daughter.
girl who cared for others and brightened the lives of her family and friends. They have suffered an unimaginable loss, which they must carry for the rest of their lives.
I know the conviction today is not going to bring Olivia back. It's not going to ease the pain of losing a daughter, but some small comfort for the person who snuffed out the life of Olivia far too early.
Yeah, I'd have to go meet him in jail.
Is now facing a life sentence behind bars.
The real gravity of this case is that a young child was shot and killed in her own home. As children do, Olivia was coming downstairs to seek reassurance. Cheryl Korbel should have been able to give that reassurance and to tuck Olivia back into bed. What's happened instead was chilling and strikes fear not only into the immediate community, but also into the minds of other children and their parents. Shooting into a family home with no regard for who may be caught in the crossfire is obviously a very significant aggravating factor.
I would describe him as a coward. He decided on that night to play out a petty dispute using guns, and that has had a devastating impact for Olivia's family, which they will live with for the rest of their lives, every waking moment.
On count 1, for the murder of Olivia Pratt-Korbel, the sentence will be life imprisonment. The minimum term will be 42 years, less the time the defendant has already spent on remand.
Minimum term, 42.
On count 2, the attempted murder of Joseph Nee, the sentence is life imprisonment with a minimum term of 22 years.
To run consecutively, though.
On count 3, wounding Cheryl Korbel with intent to do grievous bodily harm to another, the sentence is 10 years imprisonment.
To run consecutively?
All those sentences are to be served concurrently, meaning that the shortest period the defendant will be required to serve
47 years.
before he can be considered for early release from the sentence of life imprisonment is 42 years, less the 182 days he has served on
That's still not enough.
remand.
On Thursday, 30th of March 2023, a verdict of guilty, which has confirmed our belief that Cashman murdered our beautiful Olivia. Olivia was just beautiful with her long brown hair and big brown eyes. She was such a social butterfly. She was particularly good with the younger children and was such a caring little girl. Liv was the light of our lives, a sassy, chatty girl who never ran out of energy. She was a character. She was my baby, and she had amazing qualities and knew what she wanted in life. Everyone adored her. She was the baby of our family, and my little love, my shadow.
Yeah. I'm on it as well.
Now everything we do and everywhere we go is a constant reminder that she is not there with us. All that promise for her future so cruelly taken away. We can now draw a line under 7 months of agonising torment that we have had to endure at the hands of Cashman. We welcome the sentence given, but what I can say is that my family and I have already started our life sentence, having to spend the rest of our lives without Olivia.
Yeah, that's tragic. It's tragic. It's 9 a.m. I started my morning with this. I don't know. R.I.P. Olivia Pratt-Korbel. A life taken too soon.